Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate everyone. Today we're going to be covering event photography at a fire station. So I got hired out to cover a special ceremony that's happening. I'm only doing photography, so I'm going to be running around taking pictures when people get their pinning of a badge, things like that. I really appreciate all of you guys that have been coming to the channel, watching the videos, commenting, liking, subscribing. I really appreciate you guys. So let's dive right in and show you what's going on here. So here's my kit loadout for today. I have my Low Pro backpack. Always have tons of batteries. It's really important to have plenty. Then I have two cameras. Both of them are Sony A7IVs. And then I have a flash for my wide for when they're in front of the actual backdrop. I have lenses upon lenses. My primary will be 24-70 and 70-200. Brought my mics to vlog with, and that's pretty much the loadout of everything I'm using today. Also, something that's really important, always dual record when you have the ability to. If something goes wrong with a card, it gets corrupted, you don't want to lose it. So you want both cameras set to the same settings. You'll dual record. Also, if you're working an event as a subcontractor or second shooter, you could have one card for yourself and one could be the client. So it's really good to set it up that way. Here's how the event looked before it started. This is all set up, ready to go. You have tables, a podium, a backdrop, and then a table with firefighter helmets. What makes this very dynamic in here is we have windows on opposite sides of the fire station. So you're going to be backlit, front lit, double side lit. Depending on the angle, you could get some creative shots. But also, you got to watch out if you have any auto settings because you're going to get blown out. So this is how it looked once it started filling up with people just before the event. Got very crowded, very busy, bustling, ready to go. So it was very full. Here's a fire truck leaving, and this is towards the end of the event. And the reason I'm skipping around is I want to just show you a before while it's happening and kind of an after, so you can see how the dynamic changes. But that's always a good thing to have the different dynamics, because you could capture different emotions, reactions. People are nervous at the beginning, people get excited towards the end, and you kind of get a mix of everything, and the clients really love to capture that. So in just a moment after this, I'm actually going to be wrapping out the video in my van and kind of giving a recap and a rundown of the things that kind of weren't as great and the things that, worked out really well. But I'm also, while I'm doing that, I'm going to show the photos, the completed and delivered photos from the event in the video, so you can kind of see what was captured, what I was able to get in this environment. That's a wrap. Just finished up in the fire station. Got some really cool photos. I've done stuff with this fire department before at an awards banquet, so a lot of the people are familiar with me, so it made things easier. People weren't so awkward. They expected a photographer, so they reacted really well, but I was still able to get candids. That's why I like to have a zoom lens, big long zoom lens, so I could kind of pick people off from across the room, be a little more concealed, and not get those reactions that you sometimes don't want. Sometimes you do want people to look at the camera, smile, react. That's great. But sometimes you want them interacting with their friends, their family, their coworkers, and smiling and enjoying themselves and having a great conversation. And those moments are always great to capture. Now, I captured those kind of interactions at the beginning of the event before things kicked off. Once things kicked off, it was a background with branding on it. People were getting... the candidates were getting their badges put on by family members. They were posing for photos, the handshakes, you got all that. There's nothing super exciting about that. They just want it captured as a memory. So on that camera, I had a 24-70 with a flash on there. And usually when I shoot those photos, I don't just get one, because someone's going to blink. It's going to be slightly out of focus, whatever the case may be. So I count them down. 3, 2, 1. Fire off a shot. 3, 2, 1. Fire off a shot. And then 3, 2. Fire off a shot. Like to get usually 3, sometimes 2 is fine. I always pixel peep. I will look in the viewfinder. I will check my shots, make sure that things are coming out correctly, that I'm not too blown out or underexposed. I do shoot raw, so I do have some flexibility to make some adjustments in post if needed. And a lot of times in those situations, even if you use ETTL, TTL on your flash, things could go wonky. It could meter weird. Sometimes it could get a glint off of a subject or what they're wearing. You know, these candidates were in all black, but their family members had really bright colors, so that messes with the metering. So you've got to be careful with that, but it's all part of it. Just as long as you're close and in the range, it can be corrected in post and fine-tune adjusted to make it look right. The worst thing you can do is do auto white balance, something crazy like that. You'll never find the correct white balance. You'll be chasing it. You're going to be chasing it afterwards harder than you would in reality, because if you stay with even if you're off on white balance, if you stay consistent, then you know all my photos need to go plus 500 Kelvin or minus 500 or 300 versus this one's up 5, this one's down 10, this one's, you know, whatever. And that'll slow you down when you're editing, and it's going to make it a lot harder. And then sometimes it's not worth it in the end, because I just had to put so much work into editing that I'm not making much money. So you've got to really consider those things and make it worth your time and make it quick. So I was moving between a zoom, the 70 to 200 and the 24 to 70. When they were getting the pinning done, I kind of went in closer and went a little tight. Whenever I was getting the handshakes, that's when I went with the wide with the flash. I tried mixing it up. I could have stayed with just one, which was the 24 to 70, but I wanted to change it up. I like kind of crushing the background when I can, getting a little closer and intimate, getting the the emotion in the face. I like to do that. So, but I didn't want to be right on top of them because I would lose that. So while they were getting pinned, I had my zoom 70 to 200 to kind of get those tight shots. The family shots were in, group shots and, multiple people. I was using the 24 to 70 in those. And then floating around afterwards, I'm just trying to get some good shots with some good lighting. There was some good backlighting coming in from windows, so that people would get a good side light, a little bit of a hair light. If you have auto settings in those situations, they go wonky because they'll be like, oh, window. Okay, I'm going to focus on what the settings are on the outside. It's going to be really dark. So you've got to be really careful with that. And you've just got to move around. If you see a shot and it's slightly off, you've got to move over. You got to move over to the right, to the left, and stay flexible and stay on your feet, and you'll get good results. And the other thing is check your photos as you're shooting and make sure you're getting what you're getting, because you could have been outside and changed your settings and go inside and all of a sudden you're getting blurry images or dark images or bright images or whatever, or the white balance is totally off. So check your photos, especially if you change environments. I like to check them to make sure that I got a good picture of them. So I make sure I don't have them, making weird faces or just something doesn't look right. So a lot of times if it's a one shot, get it right situation, I will spray and pray to have more options in the edit to pull from those and cull those photos. So I know this is a little different than the video production that I usually cover with you guys, but I wanted to give y'all a look into some of the different shoots that I do to keep myself busy. So don't just stick with one thing if you can't stay busy with that right now. And yes, you could get into a niche and you could get into a market where you're only doing one thing and you're dominating. That's great. That's awesome. I can't do that yet. I haven't gotten to that point, so I have to be flexible. Photos today, yesterday was Gaffer kind of assisting at other things, same thing for the day before. Just prior to that was me shooting, actually capturing stuff, me running my easy rig, and it bounces back and forth. Tomorrow, a week from now, the next day after that could be a live stream, and you just never know. So, keep your things open. There is one thing that I don't shoot and I refuse to shoot, and that's weddings. That's just how I roll. I won't do weddings. I get offered weddings all the time. I will not do them. Even if they're paying me 5, 6, 10, 15,000. I don't touch weddings. That's just my choice. And there's plenty of people that do it out there, and there's people that go crazy over them. There's people that make a good living out there with it, and there's people that charge nothing and are miserable doing weddings. I don't do weddings. I'll pass. So I keep my schedule busy with other things. And events like this are way less stress, way less drama than a wedding. You're in and out, and it's done. I was in and out in 2 hours, and I got tons of great shots, and I know the client's going to be ecstatic for them. Going to get them edited up, pass through them real quick, and get them delivered to them. With these, there's high volume delivery, because we're getting every single group, family group, girlfriend, mom, dad, brothers, sisters. All of those are different shots. So one person may end up having 15, 20, 30 shots of just them, and they're all going to have to be delivered. Even though they're not perfect and beautiful and artistic, we're capturing memories. And that's what's important, is with those, a lot of times it's capturing memories. The biggest thing that I deal with is the backgrounds. They're always too small. They're like, oh, 10 foot by 10 foot or 8 foot by 8 foot. Wow, that's going to be great. If it's one person and you're tight on them, and you're getting waist up, it's perfect. But you start getting more family members, they fill the whole thing up. Well, it's just not going to work. So if you ever have the opportunity to get into pre-production for things like this, tell them to get a huge backdrop. I went to one event and they made the backdrop 30 feet long, so then people could go into multiple stops and get photos. So while you're getting the photo of them professionally, the group next to them is getting it with their cell phone, so then they're not slowing you down when they come up and like, can you get one with the cell phone? There's 50 people waiting. We're not allowed to. The client said do not take pictures with their cell phones, because you're going to slow down the line. You're the professional photographers. Let them go through, let them go through, let them go through quickly, and they could do photos on the side on their own. So you tell them, oh, just get a photo on the side by yourself with your friends, and someone will take it for you, and that ends up working out. So thanks again for joining in. I really appreciate everyone's feedback. I really appreciate everyone's viewership, everyone that's liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing the videos. I enjoy it. I'm having fun. I do like bringing y'all in on what I do when I'm able to. And if you have any insight, please give me a comment and let me know. If I have the ability to do it and feature it and focus on it and give you some insight, I'd love to do it. Obviously today, I can't show you audio or my video setup because I didn't do video. I just did photos. So thanks again, guys. I'll see you on the next one.